everyone, welcome back to my garden. Today is mid-December and I wasn't expecting to do a tour this December, a walkabout this December, but I thought since it's been exceptionally warm, I wanted to take you along and show you what the garden was looking like today. It is December the 13th and we had a really nice warm weekend, and today it's also quite nice and sunny and warm, and I think I'm being spoiled by this mild weather, but I am thoroughly enjoying seeing all the green still in my garden. And I wanted to go for a little walkabout. We had a really windy night on Saturday and a lot of branches and trees were down, so I just kind of wanted to go and check out my yard and see what was going on and take you along with me. So this is my front garden, and as you can see, the Oh So Easy double red roses, they are still full of leaves and also seeing some growth on it as well, which is exciting. I haven't deadheaded this at all since a couple of months now, and it is still doing okay, and maybe it'll flush out some blooms if it stays this warm. And down here I did have salvia, which I cut back, and everything else is pretty much the way I left it a couple of months ago. I haven't cut back anything. The hydrangeas are still have blooms on it, and I think they look really nice right now, and they're glowing in the sunshine, which is nice. All my echinaceas are still up, and I've left them for the birds, and I haven't cut back anything. This is my fall mum that I planted here, and it still looks okay. I mean, there is a lot of leaves that are green and they look healthy, so I'm hoping it comes back next year. It's just an experiment to see if it will, but we'll see. And I know that one likes a longer time in the ground and warmer weather, so I think it might be okay. We'll see. Over here the geranium has died back, but there's still a lot of new leaves and new growth. If I had cut this back, it probably would have even started to bloom. So as you can see that there are lots of new growth and new leaves on it. And over on this side, some things are still looking green. I have a daisy there that is green and it's looking okay. The Vigila there still has a bit of leaves on it. The lavender is surprisingly doing really well. It's still quite green. I love how a bluish green that looks, especially with that little spruce in the back there. And then a lot of the other plants, the autumn joy sedum still has heads on it. I love leaving it like that. I like how it looks for winter interest. And everything here is doing okay. My rose plants here have shed leaves. Actually, I had removed a lot of these leaves because they did get black spots, so I did that, and therefore they don't have any leaves. But if I hadn't removed them, I'm sure they would have still held on to their leaves. This is the catmint, which is still doing pretty well. It's flushing out a lot of new growth, and it's doing really well here. And what else is going on here? This one has a few buds as well, which is so nice to see. I love how that miscanthus, a little zebra, is looking in the back there. It's kind of changed its color, and it's almost glowing in the back there with those colors. And everything else here, the heuchras are still quite red, and lots of leaves here, which is nice to see. And also this one here is doing well. This Echinacea still has a lot of green leaves as well, and I've left the seed heads on this one as well. Yeah, things are looking really good. That oak leaf hydrangea there is still holding on to its leaves. I love the peeling bark on it. It looks really good. Let me go closer to it. This is so pretty. And this Vigila here still has some buds, which is really cool. This is the Sonic Bloom Pink Vigila, so this is really pretty as well to see, as you can see. Yeah, and this butterfly bush here is still green, and and looking good. As you can see, it still has a lot of green leaves. Yeah, everything is kind of still looking stable in here. I'm really shocked, and I'm enjoying a lot of these greens right now in the garden. And I'll take you to my backyard next and show you what that looks like right now as well. I'm just loving how the sun is falling on these plants, and it does look really nice. So yeah, this is my front garden. Before I head over to the backyard, I wanted to show you the side garden that I have parallel to my front garden. This is the other side of my driveway, and I love how this looks here. This is the Sedum Autumn Joy, which is also up with its seed heads, and this is the pincushion flower, which is also looking so green and stunning, and I think it has some new buds as well, which is so exciting to see at this time of the year. Everything else, this is Yarrow, which is dry. I love how these seed heads look, the dry seed heads. They look really nice in the garden and at this time of the year. And then also these Echinacea heads along with it. I love how this looks almost like this beautiful muted, almost like beigey brown with some of the greens. It really looks really nice, even though it's not in bloom, and it's just pretty, just the way it is. And this is the new butterfly bush that I had planted, and look how many new leaves it has. I'm so excited for this one for next year. And this is a rose bush that I have here. This is actually a mini rose bush that I had planted a few years ago, and it's really, really pretty. Look at this bud. I don't know if this will open, but it's nice to see that it's still green and it has a bud on it, so it's really nice. And actually there's another one here as well. Here's some more Yarrow over here as well. And then this is my hydrangea, which also is really looking nice. It's glowing in the sunshine, which I love. I loved when it was in full bloom, and I love how these heads look as well. So highly recommend leaving the flower heads on your shrub for winter interest, because it really, really looks really nice, especially against if you have an evergreen shrub. It kind of really looks nice against this green, dark forest green with those tones. It just looks really pretty at this time of the year. So now I'm going to walk over to my backyard and show you what's happening there. So I'm going to walk over to my backyard, but before that I wanted to show you what this rose shrub is doing. It's just putting on so much new growth, and it's still so green, full of its leaves. And this is what I love about having roses, is they do last a really long time in the garden. They start blooming really early, and they go on till December, until really, really hard frost hits and they lose all their leaves. So it's good to have these. That's why I love having so many roses in my garden, although I am dealing with a lot of black spot in some of the roses this year. I'm hoping that it was just weather related and it doesn't come back next year, but we'll keep an eye on it. But regardless, I do enjoy the blooms a lot. So going back into my backyard now, this is my side garden. So this here is also, as you can see, I haven't cleaned out any of the leaves. All the beds still have a lot of leaves on it, and I'm gonna leave them till spring just to keep everything insulated. And I think that's part of the reason too. A lot of the things are still green because the microclimate is a little bit different, and they have a lot more insulation. So here is a carpet rose. This one is blooming as well a little bit, which is nice to see. A shot of pink right now in the garden. These are the daisies that are still green here. I have a tiarella there that is still quite green. Lots of plants are still green, like the lavender is still doing good. And then over here I do have the sedum as well that I have left with the seed heads on. And then as you can see, there is some new growth at the base of it already, so which is very interesting. And then I have some Siberian iris that I planted last year, and I can see lots of shoots there coming up, which is nice. So it's just telling me that it's multiplied, and it'll be nice that when they all come up next year. And look at how much growth this Jacob's Ladder climbing rose has put on, and really excited for this one for next year. There's another climbing rose there with a little bit of a red flower there, which is nice to see. And yeah, everything is looking good. That is my quick fire hydrangea that I planted, and it is dried up, but I think it's gonna do well next year. And this is another buddleia over here, which is still quite green and lots of new growth on it as well. Yeah, over here things are still doing okay, covered with leaves as you can see, but the hydrangeas still have their flower heads on. These are the bobo hydrangeas. Lots of lavender and roses still with leaves, and some of them still with some blooms, which is really exciting to see. And what else is happening here? So this rose bush has put on a lot of growth, and it's doing really well here as well. It's getting a lot of growth. This lavender still has a lot of blooms on it. Yeah, so things are looking really good in the garden. My lemon balm here has some new growth as well. The asters that I planted are still green as well. Yeah, I could come out here and cut back a lot of these things, and I'm sure I would probably get nothing out of it right now, but I like to leave things the way they are for the winter and take a pause. There's nothing really to be done right now, and I know I'll have all of this energy in the spring, so it'll be nice to kind of clean up the garden and look forward to blooms and leaves and all of that in spring. So I'm gonna just enjoy this pause right now. And look at this ruby spice clethra. It's just glowing in the morning sun. I love it. And here, this is my endless summer hydrangea, which it's just covered in leaves, and I'm gonna leave it like that and keep it insulated that way. This is the Kodiak Black Deervilla. It's still holding on to its leaves. I love how this looks. What else is happening? These are the yellow twig and red twig dogwoods that I planted, and they're still looking really good. I love how their branching looks at this time of the year, and I'm so glad I planted these because I really love how they look in the garden. Just really look pretty. And this one is the Arctic Fire yellow. It's much more yellow than the other one there, so really pretty. Lots of new plants here. Will be exciting to see how this area shapes up next year. I'll probably add a lot more shade, two-part shade plants here next year, but I'm going to wait and see how this comes back to life next year before I add anything else here. Things here are doing okay. There's lots of hellebores still green, and I'm excited to see the blooms on these. There's still some ferns peeking through. They're doing okay so far. And here's some more hellebores as well. And this is another red twig dogwood. This is the silver leaf, still glowing and looking good. In the back here, a lot of the shrubs have lost their leaves. Everything here is new planting, very young, so it's going to take some time for this area to mature and do its thing. But for now, it looks good, and it's kind of sleeping. These are the boxes that I planted. These are butterfly bushes as well. This is the Miss Ruby, I think, and then I have the double plate doozy spirea here. I have the Hydrangea Limelight Prime there. So these are still doing good. Lots of plants here are still they're okay. They are just doing their thing, and I can see some new growth on these foxgloves, which is exciting. And I also see some new growth on the columbine, which is crazy at this time. So yeah, so a lot of the spring plants are starting to wake up a little bit with this warm weather, which is crazy. Here's the geranium Roseanne, which still has leaves on it as well. Yeah, lots of roses, lots of this is a geome that still has leaves on it. This is another lavender, which is not, supposed to be not cold hardy, but it's still holding on. So I'm hoping that because it's being blanketed with all these leaves, it might survive and come back next year. What else do I have here? Lots of roses. They're doing okay. They still have their leaves on it. I have some coreopsis that are still green. The lavender is doing so well and it's still so green. This is another butterfly bush, which is also green. And back here, this is a dwarf forsythia, which is kind of swelling with its buds as well, which is crazy. Excited for this one in the spring. What else? I still have some parsley in there and some rosemary still going. And back here, things are calm. The kale is still growing, and everything else has pretty much lost its leaves. Excited for all of this to come back next year and what that's gonna look like next year. And what else is happening? So walking over on this side, some of my annuals are still green here, which is crazy. And they are also about to flower, which is so nice to see at this time of the year. And everything else is pretty much sleeping in here. The geom is still green, which is nice to see. I love how the color is changing. I'm excited to see what color flowers this is going to be. It was just kind of a variety, just said geom. So I don't know if it's gonna be orange, red, pink. I have no idea. I'm excited to see this one bloom next year. And then things here are all covered in leaves and they're quite dry. And look at this. These are still blooming in here, which is so exciting to discover. Look at this. It's so cute. So I had these growing in this pot for a few years now, and I love how these have multiplied over time. I really like how this looks in here. I'm gonna put some more leaves on it so they stay like green. It's really pretty to see. And then what else is happening here? So this is the sedum, which is doing something exciting. As you can see, it has some pink on it on these stems, which is kind of cute to see, along with the dried flower heads. This is the rhododendron. This is also holding on to its leaves, although they have turned quite a bit dark. What else is here? Everything else here is dry and kind of sleeping. So yeah, this is my garden tour for today. It is mid-December and I'm really excited to be out here and seeing what the garden is looking like at this time of the year. Considering I have no evergreens in the backyard, I think the garden is still looking good with lots of interest and lots of branches and lots of stems and lots of green still, which is exciting. And I will see next year, maybe I will add a few evergreens in here. I haven't decided or dotted down what I really want, and I don't want to like arbitrarily place evergreens here, but I might add one or two as I kind of see this landscape evolve. But for now, I am enjoying the way it looks right now, and I hope everyone enjoyed this walkabout with me. What are you doing today on this mid-December week? Are you preparing for the holidays? It is such a nice time to take a pause and enjoy the garden, and I'm really grateful for this beautiful weather this week. And I think this is probably one of the last weeks where we will have such a nice calm, beautiful, sunny weather. And I just wanted to enjoy the garden today and take you along and show you what was happening in my garden today. And I hope everyone is having a fabulous day and enjoying this weather. If you are getting good weather where you are, enjoy it. And subscribe to my channel for more updates, more videos from me, and also more walkabouts. Next season, I plan to do a walkabout every week and show you how my garden wakes up and how it progresses through the summer and spring months. And I hope you will hit the subscribe button and follow me along and watch my videos, and I hope you get some inspiration and you learn along with me, as I'm discovering as well in my garden what works, what doesn't work, and how things are evolving. So thanks so much for watching and have a fabulous day.